Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Podcast. This is another Marriage Monday on February the 3rd, 2020. Today we're going to cover a little bit about infidelity in marriage. Stay tuned. So over the past couple of weeks, we've spoke about different situations in marriage that are kind of a struggle for certain people. We've talked about communication in marriage. We've talked about finances in marriage. And today we're going to try to cover just a little bit on infidelity in marriage. So in Isaiah 47:10, this scripture is really talking about Babylon and how God's going to deal with them. But it was an interesting scripture within it. In 47:10, it says, "You felt secure in your wickedness. You said, 'No one sees me.' Your wisdom and your knowledge led you astray. And you said in your heart, 'I am, and there is no one besides me.'" So in that scripture, the interesting part I see is it says, "No one sees me. Your wisdom and your knowledge led you astray." I think it's very interesting that sometimes the way we pattern ourselves or the way we think about certain circumstances that we're involved in, or situations that occur around us, we don't realize the purpose or the effect that it's supposed to have on us. There is circumstances that occur not by happenstance, not by coincidence. They're orchestrated to try to get you off track, and you've got to really think about the mass media, social media, work relationships, friendships that you have. All of these things are important, but you have to put them in their perspective place when you're married. As far as friends are concerned, yeah, you can go out and have fun with your friends and stuff, but if your friends start beating your spouse down or tearing down your relationship with your spouse, especially if that friend is of the opposite sex, I would say that you need to really kind of curtail that and try to make sure that person knows that their place is not in a position where they can bash your husband or your wife. They have no place for that. Even close friends, you care about them, but if you know your husband or your wife, you don't allow them to tear them down, especially not in front of you. Number two, you got to remember work relationships are just that. You are there to create and develop different processes and complete projects, whatever. But your relationships that you have there, yes, you need to be nice and friendly to an extent, but that's the limitation on those relationships. And I know it can be difficult, especially when an individual may be providing some type of emotional effect that you're not getting at home at the moment, but it doesn't really matter. They are more of a distraction than a benefit to you. So you have to talk to your wife or your husband and tell them what's missing and what you're not getting. And they're supposed to provide that for you because they're your spouse. This person at work is not. So you have to be careful how you deal with people at work. Not that you ignore them or you shut them out completely, but you do not allow the relationship with them to ever get any further than that of an acquaintance or a friend. You also have social media and mass media. You really have to pay attention to all the things that are coming across your screens, through the radio, whatever the situation is, all of the media that comes at you. There's a purpose for it. People are relaying their feelings out in the open on social media. You may see trends of different topics coming up, and people are doing all kinds of things, even in mass media, all of the TV shows. And you have to determine, what are they trying to teach me? What are they telling me? That, when you get tired of one person, just go get another. You don't have to stay with this if it's not helping you emotionally, but yet, nothing's happening. And all of this stuff, it can lead to infidelity. it can lead to you either being emotionally involved with someone else or physically involved, which either one can cause detrimental damage to your marriage. You have to be able to manage those things as they come across your eye gates or your ear gates. You have to be able to determine what you need to push back out. A matter of fact, if it's possible, try not to let any of that come into your ears. As soon as you hear it, turn it off. Just realize that the purpose for some of those things is not to entertain you, as it's been said. Some of that stuff is to take you off track and keep you off focus of the actual great relationship you have. And any relationship can grow and become better as long as there's love, forgiveness, understanding, and really being able to communicate with your spouse what your needs are. And that spouse is supposed to work towards providing as much. I don't think God would have allowed you to get together as much as if you really focused on doing things His way and focused on going forward with God in tune. Remember this picture in your mind. Think of a pyramid. You and your husband or your wife are on one side of the pyramid, rising to try to get closer to Jesus. But just realize in the process, you're actually getting closer to each other. And you want that in your life, especially in your married life. So don't allow infidelity to come in and take hold of what you've built and what you can possibly grow into a great relationship for your future. I hope you got something out of this today. Be blessed, grace, and peace.